Good evening, everybody. What is going on? Hope everybody's doing well tonight. I'm just taking a moment to pop on while I get dinner going for the family. So, had a really productive day. Got a lot done. Was sitting around a lot, actually, being on calls. So, um, what are we talking about tonight? So, do you want to find the balance of your life, being fit, being feeling like you're connected with God, a marriage on fire, leading your kids, setting the standard for your family, and a business that supplements your life, not the other way around? So over the past few weeks, what's going on, guys? Bayou Beards on, Next Big Things on. Thanks for popping on, guys. The past few weeks, I have been doing basically a survey all over Facebook asking men who are entrepreneurs what they are looking for, what they're struggling with. And it comes down to this. It comes down to following the balance or finding the balance of life. And here's the great thing, guys. I've made those mistakes so that you don't have to. Like, I have struggled to find the balance of my life. I've struggled to find being able to be connected with my wife and lead the kids the way I want to lead them as their father, but all the while being connected with God and having a business that is on fire. And so here's why I'm focusing on dads, fathers, husbands that run businesses, that have established small businesses. One, because I think having a small business is absolutely amazing, but it's also very turbulent at times. And I know that for myself. And, I've started businesses that failed. I started businesses that didn't go nowhere. So I had to shut them down. And now I run a successful business with my wife. And I am pulling back from my position within that business, within the Wellness Center, to start going after men to help these business owners find the balance to their life. And so when I surveyed these men, they're like, oh, work-life balance, guilt, shame, all these things that come up for these guys that are trying to provide for their family. Because I believe as men, we inherently are born with a duty to provide for ourselves and our family. And that's where I found myself. Like, after I left the fire department, I started my own business. I started a home inspection business. For those that may not know, I started marketing myself as a different home inspector, which I was very happy with the product that I put out. It started to gain traction. I started to get busier, but I shut it down in 3 months. I shut it down because not that it wasn't successful, not that it wasn't providing. I shut it down because my wife and I decided to do our health and wellness clinic, and she wanted my help on the back end to help her build the clinic we have today. And so I have a very soft spot for these dad entrepreneurs who are trying to make it work. And in that process of building the business with my wife, it's interesting that we worked together, but we also lost connection. And in that time, I lost connection to God. I have kind of yo-yoed with my fitness and been disciplined at times and not disciplined so much. I've lost weight. I've put a weight back on. I've gotten fit. And now I'm at a point in my life where I'm consistent. I'm fit. I don't yo-yo. I am connected with my wife. We have a marriage that's on fire. I'm setting the standard for my boys. And we have a growing business, a business that's growing so much that I'm able to step back and start to do what I'm doing here with coaching men. And so here's what I found. The other thing that I found with these men that run businesses, they want the life that I feel that I have, that I help guide other men to have. When you run a business, there are a lot of times, the majority of the time, that actually you feel like your business is running you, or you're just an employee of your business, right? Like, You left a job, left a career like I did to go run this business, and it ends up running you. And there's a great, balancing act that has to happen. And men, especially men that are running businesses, struggle with this. And one thing that I found that is absolutely critical when you talk to these dads that are business owners, here's what they tell me. Well, I know exactly the money that's coming in. I know the expenses going out. I can do a profit and loss sheet. I have a spreadsheet for this. I have a spreadsheet for this. I have this. And then I ask him, I go, do you do that for your life? Do you track your fitness in that way? Do you track your marriage and your relationships in such a way that you have a spreadsheet to know how you're doing in that area? Do you track how you're connected with your creator in that way? And they kind of sit there dumbfounded. They're like, well, no. And this is what I like to call the one-dimensional life. So these guys, they have a wife, they have kids, maybe they're trying to work out, but they spend so much time on their business that everything else kind of falls to the wayside. And they have all the data and the input and the output of what's going on in their business. They don't have that for these other areas in their life. And this is what I call the one-dimensional life. And so something that I help men do is not to live the one-dimensional life. Because when you live one-dimensionally, there's no doubt everything else beyond will fall apart. Think about it, guys. If you're driving your car that has 4 wheels down the road and you decide that front left tire is the only thing I'm going to pay attention to, I'm going to take care of it, I'm going to clean it, I'm going to ensure that it has enough air, and you don't focus on the other 3, what is going to happen? Those other 3 tires are going to get worn out, they're going to get busted, and they're going to cause you problems. And I know that's super simplistic, but that's the idea of living a 4-dimensional life. You have to pay attention to all 4 tires. You have to go around and you have to kick them daily, right? I'm not telling you to kick your wife or your kids. I'm just using that as a metaphor. But that's how we live a 4-dimension. We focus intentionally on all 4 domains. Body, being, balance, and business. Being your meditation, your connection with Creator, God, whatever you want to call it, I call it God. So focusing on those areas daily is how you live a 4-dimensional life. And then what you do is you use my app. You use the app to track this information. Did you spend the time intentionally on your wife today? For some guys, that may be sending a text message. Hey, babe, just thinking about you. Did you guys go on a date night? Did you sit down and play with your kids? If your kids are older, did you call them and say, hey, son, I'm thinking about you. Everything good? Just want to let you know I'm here. This is how you do this. This is how you find the balance to life that we're looking for. And by focusing on each domain, 4 dimensions, every day, day in, day out, with discipline, with consistency, you then get to live a life by design. Hear me for a minute. Living a life by design is what we all seek. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you live. I don't care who you're married to. I don't care your sexual preference. I don't care if you believe in Buddha or Jesus. All of this is applicable to every man and woman on this planet. Now, the dichotomy in this is you're not going to always be able to give and focus on each domain equally. So there are times in my life like today where, I haven't done my fitness. So I have my nutrition. I haven't completed my body plan today. I need to go work out after dinner. I haven't had as much time with my children as I needed to today because of work. But that doesn't mean that I just go, well, fuck it. Oh, well, just going to slide that off. You have to have intention. You have to have intention in every domain. Because if you don't, and you live a one-dimensional, two-dimensional, or even a three-dimensional life, and you don't focus on the 4 dimensions, you're living a life by default. You're allowing these other things to control you. You can still focus on all 3 tires on your car with the metaphor that I used, but if you don't focus on that last one, it's going to be the same thing, the same situations, the same chaos that comes up, just like if you were focusing on 1 tire. That's living a 4-dimensional life. And a lot of times I get to hear, I have men cry, and that's okay. It doesn't make them less masculine. It actually shows that they actually are being real. They're being raw. They're telling the truth. But it's hard. I'm going to tell you, like, doing this stuff daily and consistently isn't easy, guys. If it was, everybody would be doing it. There'd be no divorce out there, but instead we have the opposite. Over 50% of first marriages end in divorce. And the statistics for second marriages, over 67% of second marriages end in divorce. So you know what that tells me? It tells me that the problem isn't the union between 2 people. Oh, I got some kids crying. The problem is the people. The problem are the men that are living one-dimensionally, and they're not focusing on all 4 dimensions. So guys, that is my message. I hear my young son crying, so I appreciate you for joining on. And as always, rise and reign.